Hey everyone, Marathon Hurdler here, back with some more Final Fantasy VIII. Last time, after taking on the sorceress and failing to defeat her, we found ourselves in another dream scenario with Laguna and Kyros, and after doing some patrolling of Windhill, we got a little insight to what Laguna and Kyros and Ward have been up to since their adventures in Estar territory. We found out that Laguna has been patrolling a small little town and protecting it from monsters, and has seemed to have developed a little bit of a relationship with Rain, and I don't know if it's her daughter, but with the girl she takes care of alone. Kyros has just been traveling around, and Ward has been working in Galbadia prison. But we still don't know what's happened to Squall and crew since their failed attack on the sorceress, so today I suppose we'll find out what happened to them. And not surprisingly, they find themselves in what looks like a prison. And it seems like Zell was one of the three chosen this time to be in the dream world. Yeah, I mean, if Squall died in the last episode, or 2 episodes ago, someone has to replace him, so maybe it was Zell. Or maybe it wasn't Zell. So Zell was Ward? Now, this is interesting because, well, first they're telling us, so we were actually in Centra, not Estar. That was my mistake earlier there. But without giving away too much of what's going on later in the game, one thing that I find interesting is that in all the previous Dreamworld scenarios, the focus has been very much on Laguna. But even though Zell has, or not Zell, but Ward has nothing to do with what Laguna's doing right now, we still get sent back into Ward in the dream scenario. So I kind of wonder why that is, knowing what they're experiencing now. I really am curious as to what is causing why that happened. But, oh well. Anyway, so what we have to do here is we just need to talk to everybody to keep everything moving, and yeah. Where are you going, Renoa? I don't understand where you're going with this. Yeah, Zell's completely confused. And now we'll talk to Selphie, see what she has to say. Yeah, I suppose. We gotta make a jailbreak. We know what happened to, well, we don't know what happened to Cypher, because Cypher was supposed to have been assassinated. Or, yeah, he was supposed to have been executed, but apparently that didn't happen. Anyway, now that you've talked to everybody, you talked to Renoa again, and yeah, I wonder if you could actually talk to her last, and if that would just do everything, but, no need to worry about that, I suppose. What a coincidence. Turns out, yeah, it looks like the prison that Ward was working in was the prison that Galbadia has, which makes sense because he is a soldier for Galbadia, or he was a soldier for Galbadia, and yeah, now he is, well, I guess he was working in this prison, and I guess that's where we find ourselves, in the prison for political activists. But this still doesn't answer the question, where are Irvine and Squall? And I wonder who was Kyros in the last dream scenario. And Laguna. So many questions left unanswered. But yeah, regardless, things certainly don't look good right now. Yeah, Zell knows what's up. Yeah, I'm afraid it doesn't look too good for Squall. I mean, he wasn't hitting the hard, but you can't just get impaled like that and have it end too well for you. That's just not how it works. Unless it is how it works. I keep forgetting plot armor. You can't kill off a main character that quickly. Unless it's Final Fantasy VII, of course. But even then, you gotta wait till like the end of Disc 2 before you can start killing off people like that. Yeah, that bastard Cypher. He was supposed to have been executed. And he was helping the sorceress? Something seems off about all this. But that's a fancy little rig they got there. I would mean if most prisons had isolation units like that, it would certainly make things far more convenient. Solitary confinement would be taken to a whole new level with that. If you cause problems, we'll just take your cell and throw it into the sky. Well, maybe not, but anyway, I guess we're going back to Zell and crew because they aren't in solitary confinement. And, well, maybe it was a door. Maybe there's someone coming in. Who doesn't like him at all? Who doesn't like who? Or the noise could just be someone getting tortured. I'm guessing that's going to be Squall. Well, his title is Mean Guy, and he says, "Don't screw with him. You know this guy means business." Oh, yeah. Now he's not afraid to use brute force to get what he wants. This guy is a mean guy. Those are some very fast kicks that you got going on there. Really? So all this time you're just beating him up, and all you needed was to find out where Renoa was? Really, guys? Really? And are you sure you want to talk trash to him, Zell? Seriously. Yeah, just lay off already. See, she's cooperating. No need for violence. I don't know why they're going to kill her first. I mean, well, I guess Squall is... I guess they probably have already killed Irvine because we don't know where he is. We haven't seen him yet. I'm sure he's already been killed because he was the one who shot the sorceress, and Squall was the first one to attack, so that's probably why he's being killed right now. Or he's up next, and then Renoa was part of the direct assault, so maybe that's why she's going third. I guess I could see that. Now this is kind of an awkward little... For some reason that animation just looks awkward to me. Because I'm assuming that Cypher is pulling Squall up and into his arms to throw him back. But he just looks like Squall just like stands up and then just falls back into Cypher. Which I doubt would happen. And also there's the whole, I don't think Cypher could actually throw someone by their hair without just pulling it out. Now, I wouldn't know because I shave my head. I don't really have much hair to begin with, but I just don't think the physics behind that would work too well. Yeah, he's about to be executed. Or he's going to be tortured first and then executed. Don't you know, Cypher? Seriously, you were almost a seed. You took the seed exam like 10 times. Or, well, maybe that's why he failed so many times, because he doesn't even know the basics. You don't know what a seed is, so how can you become a seed? Seriously, did you really think he would tell you anything that easily? Well, that's kind. Yeah, seriously. I don't know what kind of compliment that is. Well, that was fun. I don't know if you could electrocute someone that much without them dying. I don't think that makes sense, but that's certainly true. I might give Sophie a decent chance of getting through it. Maybe the teacher, maybe Cleistus. Zell, though, no. He needs very little pressure to give up all the information he has. I mean, there was really no way for anyone to get out. That's the thing. They were all stuck in the tower. In theory, the gate team could have tried to have run through the sewers, but I imagine they would have had the sewers pretty filled with soldiers by that point, so yeah. I can't imagine this was the romantic dream that Cypher was talking about. They don't really talk specifically about this, but I personally think Cypher's romantic dream was to be a revolutionary, someone who goes down for the cause. He's like he's like one of those guys. I don't want to call him a hipster, but he's just one of those guys. You know the type. Like they're in there, like one of those young people who want to change the world, and they feel like they're part of some major cause, and they think they're going to change the world because they're selling T-shirts to stop hunger in Uganda or something, and it's they think they get on their high and mighty shtick about how, oh, I'm saving the world and you aren't, and all this other stuff. And obviously for Cypher he's taking it to another level, but there are all sorts of people who take their personal causes to that level where they think it's like the most important thing in the world, and if you aren't in on this and you don't get it, and I'm saving the world. And this is not to diminish the importance of those causes. I mean, certainly, I'm a graduate student. I do research, and I do a lot of research about the environment. So I got my own cause, and I think it's very important. But the people who have the high and mighty, I'm too good for you, especially if you don't agree with me or aren't on my same page. That's the kind of guy Cypher seems to be. He's like the guy who is all into his little cause, and he just can't back down. He has to. It's a front, basically. So I don't think the sorceress thing was actually his dream, but because he was just about ready to die to go after the president of Galbadia, who was working with the sorceress. So I just think he wants to be the guy who sacrifices himself for a cause or something. It just didn't work out with Renoa. But yeah, now we're fighting this mean guy. We stood up to him this time. I don't know why Zell couldn't have done that before, but whatever. I don't know if he's that okay. He did take a beating. PETA would be speaking of causes, PETA would be very upset with what just happened here. Yeah, I don't think the cure spell worked too well on him either. Alright, so now we're flipping right back over to Squall. I don't think he knows, man. The missiles? I didn't know they had missiles. Excellent. I could just see Cypher saying it just like that. Like, this guy is just way too happy right now. Do you really think it's a pity? I don't. I really feel like you don't think it's a pity. Uh-huh. Yes. I don't think Cypher is going to listen to you, man. I think that would have been funnier if Cypher would have just responded by saying, yes! And they could have just gone back and forth, no, yes, or something. Like out of a cartoon. I don't know. That's just the way I see it when I think about this scene. Dude. Like, you're basically admitting to being her lapdog. I don't think that's something to be proud of. Cypher really is a hipster. Now that I think about that, I'm convinced Cypher is a hipster. He's got the ironic jacket. I'm assuming that's ironic. I hope it's ironic. He's got the ironic way he holds his sword. I feel like everything about Cypher is just hipster and ironic. It's too cool to wear the school uniform. Yeah, you thought I had forgotten about that. I didn't forget about that. Cypher is too cool to be wearing the school uniform to his own exam. He's definitely a hipster. Yeah, I don't think you're as good of an interrogator as Cypher is. If you can't get it out of me, I don't think. Oh, and I went through that pretty fast, but you just have a couple of options, and I just chose just let me die. I think it's the funnier of the two options. Because, yeah, Squall insults the guy, and the warden doesn't like it too much, and he makes some weird hand gestures, and yeah. How you like me now? I don't like you very much at all, buddy. I don't see how you could survive that. I'm pretty sure that would kill you. unless the bolts are much smaller, lower than I thought. But and here we are at the beginning of Incompetent Prison, or Adventures in Incompetent Prison Management. So you're basically leaving your top prisoner in the charge of a couple of animals. That seems smart. Well, and having seen what Sophie just said there, maybe I should take back my statement about her being very tough. But anyway, yep, we definitely have to figure out a way to escape. I don't got a plan. Do you have a plan? Wow. Again, PETA does not approve. I promise no animals were harmed in the filming of this video. Except for all the animals that I've been killing throughout the game to this point. But they're monsters. It's fine. We wouldn't hurt a docile animal like this Moomba here. Yeah, we gotta get those weapons back. Alright, Zell. Put 2 and 2 together here. There you go, Zell. He's putting it together. Yeah, it's all up to you, Zell. Which is kind of sad. Yeah, and exactly. Like I don't. It's not as if Ward is like the architect of this building. And here we are in Adventures of Incompetent Prison Management number 2. They're really gonna fall for this. Yep. What is this? The AT&T Center? Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if any of you guys are NBA fans. I'm a big NBA fan personally. It's really the only professional sport that I watch. But the Spurs play in the AT&T Center, and they've had some interesting issues with their stadium over the last couple weeks. During one of the playoff games earlier this year, they found a snake in the visiting locker room, and in this previous game, the air conditioning, the first game of the finals, the air conditioning just went out. I think I just went down the wrong building. Yep. Wrong floor. Anyway, the air conditioning went out at the AT&T Center, and yeah, that was no good. And I need to actually switch my junctions here. I'll just give him what Squall has. Not a big deal there. I don't even need to heal right now. But, yeah, the air conditioning went out, and it was like, I was listening to ESPN radio the next day, and I heard that it got up to like 100 degrees inside the stadium, and yeah, it caused a lot of problems for the players. LeBron started cramping like crazy and couldn't even finish the game. And look, I'm a Cleveland fan, and I'm certainly not happy with how LeBron left, and I definitely been rooting for the Spurs. I went to Wake Forest myself, and so you got to root for Tim Duncan and the Wake Forest connection there. But I don't like LeBron as much as I am rooting against him as much as anybody. But I do think the hate on him is a bit ridiculous. I guess I'll talk a little bit more about that. I'll get back to my NBA rant here in a second. But we got a little battle against these guards, so I'm going to take care of that, and I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. That was a pretty simple battle, just 2 guards you have to deal with. They're basically the same as any Galbadian soldiers that you fought up to this point, so I just cast Break on them, and that's that. And yeah, these 2 are gonna get all excited about getting those weapons, and that's that. Now, to get back to my little rant, or I guess I'll hold off for a second here. There's one other scene that is important here before I get back to my NBA rant, although I'm sure you guys are all super excited to hear me talk about the NBA some more. We got someone or something calling Squall Laguna here. And it looks like it's the little Moombas. They are calling Squall Laguna for some reason. Maybe they're the ones who've been sending us back to the dream world. Maybe that's what's going on here. Yeah, no, actually, I don't think these guys are that sophisticated to be able to send people to a dream world. Although it wouldn't be the first time we had a monster in a game that could do something magical like that, but yeah, but for some reason they seem to have us confused with Laguna, so, and they've let us free, so that's always good. Alright, now that we're all back, and we have our weapons, everyone's super excited and pumped, and now we get to see everyone in super size doing some little poses or something. Not sure how intimidating any of this is, but okay. I feel like I'd be more intimidated by Irving's gun and Squall's gunblade. But now we get to set up the party, and I was gonna edit this out, but I'll go ahead and show this off. Give me a chance to finish my ranting about the NBA there. As I was saying before, you know, I think the hatred for LeBron has just gotten a little bit out of hand. I'm never gonna root for the guy like I used to again, just because. Well, really, just because. I mean, you know, he obviously left Cleveland in a very, very disappointing state of affairs, and that's, well, we've sucked since then. So I certainly am not going to root for someone who has allowed us to suck, or who has been a primary cause of our suckage for a while here. But I don't know. It's at the same time, it's like at some point you have to get over it, I guess. You know, I mean, I don't know. Like, I don't hate the guy personally, but I feel like too many people just like take like personal pleasure in seeing LeBron not do well, and I don't know. I don't know. I get rooting against him, but when people are going after him for like cramping in a basketball game, it's like I've had cramps before. I mean, I ran track in college, and you know, you get those days where you're just running in like just like oppressive heat, and yeah, it sucks. I mean, and when you get cramps, I would get really bad cramps at night, and you know, when I would get those cramps, I basically just couldn't move for like, I mean, you know, sometimes depending on how bad the cramps were, I might be able to stretch a little bit to kind of help get them, to help, you know, with the help loosen it up a bit. But even then, it didn't help that much. And what the bigger issue is, once you start cramping, your body isn't going to stop cramping for a while. And that's really the problem. It's, you know, I start cramping, and then I'm going to continue cramping for like the next hour, even if I stretch it out, and even if I try to drink a lot of water, because there's just no amount of water that you can drink that's going to be able to really, I don't know, to get you hydrated quick enough to where that won't be a problem. So, I don't know, I felt bad for him. I'm still rooting for them to lose. I'm definitely rooting for the Spurs, but I felt bad for him. I thought that was a bit over the top, but anyway, that's my NBA rant for the day. I'm sure you'll be hearing more about the NBA over the next couple weeks because the finals are up, and I'm like super into it. I'm watching every game, reading all the articles about the games and everything. So if you like the NBA, I'm sure the next couple weeks will be great for you. Uh-oh. Biggs and Wedge? Those names sound familiar. Yeah, we've heard those names before. And clearly they all recognize us as well. Except for Kisis, of course, because Kisis wasn't there at the Dalek Communication Tower. Oh really? You'd be willing to fight unarmed prisoners? That's kind of messed up. Fortunately, we are armed, so we won't have to worry about that. Yeah, sorry about that, Biggs. Well, maybe if you guys had more competent prison guards. Which is interesting, because I wonder, that guard who got knocked out by Zell, did he just get up and leave or something, while Selfie and Keisters were just sitting there? That is kind of weird now that I think about it. Anyway. So there are a couple things. This is a pretty straightforward boss fight. These guys are pretty easy to kill. But there are a couple things that we want to get while we're here. And so we want to draw, I believe that he has the, so he has the Reflect spell, It's the best spell, or one of the best spells in the game for junctioning to your spirit, and that's actually what I'm going to be using to junction to my spirit long term. And then Biggs there has the, I believe that's the Regent spell. Yep, that's the Regent spell. Best spell in the game for, or one of the best spells in the game for Vitality. I'm going to be using that as my junction for Vitality at the end of the game when we're doing our max stats. So I'm going to go ahead and get 300 copies of those spells now. Biggs also has the haste and slow spells. If you want to pick those up, you can, but I don't think it's necessary because there are far better. Because haste is only really useful as junction to your speed, and we'll have plenty of opportunities to get it later. Plus, there's a better spell that we can get for junction to our. There's a better spell we can get a junction to our speed anyway, so I'm not worried about that. Slow is just entirely useless in my opinion, so I wouldn't bother with that. And one other thing before I cut out here, you can actually mug a couple of useful items if you have that ability already. You can get a Strength Love from Biggs, which isn't super useful. It teaches one of your GF Strength plus 40. We won't use that, so that's actually not very useful. But Wedge has a Regen Ring, which is useful because you need it for Renoa's ultimate weapon. You can get it here if you have the mug ability, but it's not necessary because there will be other areas where we can easily farm them later, and I'll show that place off when that time comes. But for now, I'm going to go ahead and get 300 copies of these two spells, and when I have them, I will be right back. Okay, I'm back. Got the spells that I wanted, so I'm just going to go ahead and take these guys out. Shouldn't take too long. Get a little funny dialogue when you start attacking them. I guess they're complaining about us because we are always giving them grief, but yeah, they're the exact same as they were last time. They don't do a whole lot of damage to you. I haven't healed once. They've maybe done 400 points of damage to me total in the 10 minutes that I've been drawing these spells, and yeah, pretty straightforward boss battle. And I'm sorry if you might hear some background noise. I think my neighbor or someone is hammering at something, and it's, you know, I can't figure out what they're doing over there, but they've been going at it since I started drawing those spells a couple minutes ago, and they haven't stopped. But anyway, if you don't mug those items, you actually get a couple of elixirs and some remedies, and the elixirs actually will be pretty useful. So that's, I would actually take advantage of that if I were playing this game. Having done it both ways, both mugging the enemy and not, I would actually prefer to, yeah, I would actually go with not mugging them because you can get the Regen Rings pretty easily later, and on top of that, you need the elixirs for a side quest later. But since we just learned the strength junction for the brothers there, we can finally equip that ability, and I'm just gonna show you doing this on the screen because, you know, I'm just about done here anyway, and unfortunately I don't really have a great spell. I'm gonna have to, I'll deal with that. That I will do off screen, but I just wanted to show off how powerful the Reflect and Regen spells are. You can see it's a massive boost in my defense, and so we're basically going to be set defensively for the rest of the game. There's very little enemies are going to be able to do to damage us, especially since we're keeping our levels so low on purpose. But now we're just going to head out and try to figure out where Squall's at. But of course, Biggs is always going to cause trouble for us once we defeat him. So I guess we'll just have to wait to see what those consequences are going to be for us. Yeah, he should be around here somewhere. What's that? The other ones seem to be able to talk. Why can't you talk? See, they're saying Laguna. Or I guess he can talk. Yeah, I doubt that's a coincidence. We'll go after them then. But of course, there's an alarm. Yep. So now there's going to be monsters running around. And again, I don't know what this anti-magic field is about because I have no problem casting spells up to this point. But yeah, now they're going to be coming after us, so yeah, there's going to be monsters, but thankfully we have the encounter none ability, so we don't have to worry about that. Now, before we go after Squall, there are a couple of things that I want to show off in this area. There are some items and some other little things that you can do here, but this video has gone on for quite a while now, so I think I'm going to stop this video here. Next time we will show off what's going on in the prison. I'm going to do a little bit of I'm going to do some rearranging of my setup off screen probably, but yeah, next time we'll explore the prison, figure out what happened to Squall, and try to find a way out of here. Until then, this has been Marathon Hurdler. I want to thank you guys as always for checking out my videos, and hopefully I will see you next time.